Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's stream. My name is Nacho Riesco. As hope most of you know, I'm here streaming on ZBrush Live, making jewelry with ZBrush. So welcome everybody. I'm very glad for being here with all of you. Uh, Let me know if you can listen to me. I want to check the music. If it is not too loud, let me see. And I will be glad to read you on the comments. Just if you have any questions or comments about what I'm going to sculpt. So today I'm going to follow with the same design I left on my previous stream. I left on my previous stream. I will talk about it today. Let me set it up, everything. Check if everything is working fine on my side. And welcome again. So let me check if everything is working fine. Let's see if my music is sounded properly. And let's get started. Perfect. So and let's start. So I was starting on my previous stream this ring you can see on the screen. This is the progress I already have. So the design is going to be based on this design. You can see it's a group of different rings from very ancient rings. They are commonly made during very ancient periods of time. So where we are going to use this main design that I don't intend to make a replica or a copy of this design, but I'm going to try to grab the idea to put a head here. There's going to be a lion that you can see here. We already have the lion already sculpted. It's not 100% finished. We still have to make a lot of changes. And I also gather a lot of pictures from different kinds of ancient sculptures of lions. Some of them are for jewelry purposes, like this one, or some, for example, this one was used as a helmet, or this one looks like could be on a wall or something, on a fountain maybe, or this kind of knocker. It's very common to see this kind of designs. And we are, or for example, this one I like, and I was making on my previous stream, trying to make a mix between different styles, different ideas, my own ideas, because as I said before, I don't pretend to make a copy from any of them. It's just to collect different concepts, different idea, and following the main concept, this ring, trying to get something cool and something beautiful and something good to wear on our finger. So okay, welcome Lecture, and let's get started. So this is what we have so far. I'm gonna open, you can see I started from this point on my previous stream. If you want to revise it after this stream, just in case if you are interested how I get this started from zero, from scratch till here, if you go to YouTube, to the Pixologic Webs page, let me try to make a quick search. Okay, go into the live sessions. Let me try to find it. Well, it must be here somewhere where I am. This is because I'm looking for the previous stream. Content creation. No, this is very new. Must be here somewhere at the bottom. Here it is. You can. We started from scratch, so just sculpting the band, putting the different elements, sculpting the head, grabbing using the different references. For example, like this, to start creating the lion head, the forehead, the cranius, the nose, the mouth, and this. So you can see here the process till the beginning, from the beginning till we are where we are now today. So we are here. So send your comments or questions, just in case you have any about what I'm doing, or any stuff related to how to use ZBrush for jewelry designs or for any kind of jewelry applications. If you have in mind to make a pendant, a ring, whatever you want. So I will be here for helping you. And let's start with this. Okay. This here and there, and as I said before, I don't have any specific in mind. Yeah, so we were thinking to put a stone here in the mouth, or trying to put stones on the eyes. Maybe they must be here somewhere, the stones. No. So just to leave a space for put the stones on the eyes. So maybe yes or maybe not. Not sure, but maybe today I'm happy with the overall aspect of how the lion looks like so far till here. So let's check all the views on the angles. Try to don't make it too thin or too thick on some areas. For example, here on the main, what I'm gonna do is, you can see that the mass is composed from many different parts of a mix of many different meshes. I was using mainly Dynamesh or the regular quad mesh, and the Sculpting Pro. Let me click on auto groups. Oh, this one it is already a Boolean mesh. Maybe I have seen that I have lost the. That guy is asking, is there any plugin? Yes. Would you mind, Terchan, that I explain it to you in English, or I can explain in Spanish, speak in Spanish if necessary? You don't mind? This is just for leave the comment for everybody. So maybe most of the people are going to understand English more than Spanish, but do you want an answer in Spanish? So I can go ahead with the Spanish if you need it. So, okay. So here, and my English is very basic. I think it's very easy to understand. So my Spanish English. So you're asking if is there any plugin to set up a ring base? And the answer is yes. We have one where we can control, as you are saying, the size of the ring, or the size of the finger, the diameter of the ring. So it is called, I already got it installed on my ZBrush, and the name of the plugin is Ring Utility. This one, where you can, for example, you can select, this is the ring size. Let me, for example, let's grab the cylinder, make polymesh, where we can control 3 different parameters. We can control the size, we can control the thickness, and we can control the width of the band. So we make it smaller like this. Let me put it here in perspective. If I start drawing, this is going to be the hole, or this is going, or the finger size. This is the size. This is going to be the size. This, the first one. The thickness is going to be this parameter. This is going to be the thickness. And we can control one more number. This is going to be the width of the band. This is going to be the width of the band. So with this plugin, we're going to be able to create a ring base to start working with these three parameters. We can control the size in millimeters. Let me paint in yellow. Millimeters. We can control, we can tell to ZBrush using the ISO size, or we can control the size using the US size method of measurement. So I used to use millimeter. For me, it has more sense. So I never use the other two. So only, so if we, for example, we decide that we are looking for a 10 millimeter diameter ring with a thickness of 2 millimeter with a width of 3 millimeter, for example. And now we can create a ring base mesh. Now ZBrush will give us this, a ring base to start working with of 19 millimeter by 2 millimeter thick by 3 millimeter wide. So this is going to be our starting point. Also, you can do many different things. For example, here you have 3 different subtools. Pay attention to the second and to the third subtool. I don't care about the first one, because the first one, here we have a cube. The ZBrush is giving us a cube as a way to control the scale of the object. So you can get rid of it, or you can remove it, or delete it, or don't pay attention that it's here. The most important thing, in my opinion, is going to be the mandrel, or this long cylinder that has the measurements we set it up before. So that says ring 64 millimeter by 2 millimeters. If I go here using the scale master, and then it is, maybe I made something wrong, because ZBrush is giving to me a wrong size. Maybe, let me check. Maybe I did something wrong. You know that you can take measurement with ZBrush using the transpose line. You can turn this off, and you can start taking measurement from point to point, and you are going to have the units. In this case, on your top left corner. Now it's hidden in my interface. Okay, no, it is here. You can read the measurements here. This is space. I'm gonna repeat it to show you what I'm saying. From this point to this point, we are having here 24 by 0.61 millimeter. So maybe I did, oh, okay. I did, my mistake was don't change this option. I left this button active, the US size. That's the reason why it's giving to me. That means that 16 means it is 24 millimeters. So if I, let's repeat it, I'm sorry. So let's click on millimeters. Let's put here 19 millimeters, and now create a new one. Now, yes, so if we are going here, it is mandrel 19 millimeters by 50 millimeter. That means that we are having a mandrel of 19 millimeter diameter, and that's it. Yeah, you are right, third champ. I didn't change the units here, or the units of measure, the dimensions, or the units of measuring here. So, but using millimeter, see, you can see that the plugin is working well. Was my fault. So now I'm having a band or a base mesh to start working with, and also you can do different things. For example, you can add stones to the band or the ring, just in case you need some. For example, just clicking, opening this space. You can select different hem cuts or stone cuts. You can use a round cut, emerald cut, oval cut, marquise, pear, or custom. I don't know what a custom does. Let me check. If I select the custom, I don't used to use this because I like to import my own hem cuts, but you can start putting hems on your ring if necessary. And you can see, you can select the dimension of the hem as well, 4 millimeters by default. Let's leave it as it is. And where do you want to place the hem? or the stone on the band, on top of the band, in the middle of the band, at the bottom of the band, and how many stones you want to place on your band. So for example, we want to make a solitaire. See, we only want one. We want to put the stone on top. So let's click add the stone. And this is what custom is, because when you are selecting custom, ZBrush, I think, is grabbing the subtool that you are already using. This is the reason why you can do this, is for any reason you want to place your own custom hem or any other part that you need to put on the ring. But if we let's put a more dimension millimeters and round like this, and you can see what you can do. This is on top, this is in the middle, and this is in the bottom. Okay. Or you can add the hemstone as a subtool, clicking here. So you can see here you can do many different things with this. I think for me the most useful part of the plugin is where you are setting, you already answered, the size of the ring that you are looking for. And now from here, if let me hide the others, let's hide this, and this, you can start working with the band. You can start making the formation, creating your own band, but the main reference for me is the mandrel. So when you are building the mesh over the mandrel, as I already did on my design, you can see here, this is the mandrel. My mandrel is 19 millimeter, and I was putting the different elements on top, and I know that I'm creating a 19 millimeter size ring. So you can do it with the plugin, or you can grab any of the cylinders and tells to ZBrush that I want a 19 millimeter cylinder. So once you have the 19 millimeter cylinder, you can start working on top, putting all of your elements of your design. So you have two different ways. The place where you can find this plugin, you need to go, you go to Google and type in ZBrush plugins. You can go here, ZBrush plugins, and scrolling down, you will find it here somewhere. Ring utility. You can download it, you can start using it. As easy as it sounds. And that's it. Hope I answered your question. Let me know if you have any other questions or doubts about what I was explaining before. I think you were using USI. Yes, you were right. And when you export that for 3D printing, is it going to keep that? Sure, why not? So when you are, for example, I always have said that you have two different ways to work with ZBrush. So when you start a project, you're going to start using the default units, ZBrush units, where you are not worried about how big and how small the object is. When you are sculpting, you are just creating something. You are just focused on what you are creating, the shapes, the volume that you are doing, or you can take the decision to start with the real units of the object from the beginning of the process. In this case is the second option. So where we are setting up a ring size, and then we are going to start the project with real units, the real scale units that the object is going to have in the real life. So at the end of the process, when all of your design is complete, you can export a file and you can send it directly to the printer, and you are going to have the same units on your hand than on your screen. So there isn't any reason why to change the unit during the process. But anyway, if you are worried about the units, well, for example, we can think that this is complete, okay, and then what it's ready for being exported or being printed. I recommend to you can use two different ways. You can click on export, and now you can select your your choice, the kind of file format that you want. In this case, OBJ or STL. They are the most commons, mostly STL format. Or make a double check before export the file. So you can go to this plugin. The plugin, it is 3D Print Hub. The first step to take is update size radius. You can see here that ZBrush is telling us that the ring is 23.83 millimeters by 29 by 0.41 by 1046. No, I'm sorry, inches. In this case, is this box. And once we are agreed with the units, you can see the unit has been updated. You can export from this button with the units checked before, just in case you want to make a double check before export your objects. But in my opinion, you're going to have the same thing using this direct method or checking the units first before export the file, and that's it. No problem. I have seen that I have a problem today because for some reason, maybe I didn't save let me check if I already have here my quick save file. I think not, because this is a very old object. This is a very old file. Okay, the problem that I'm having now is I have this one that it is not completed. Let me find it. This one has only 2 tools, and this one has 10. And you can see here, this is the more or less. Okay, well, we can go directly with this one, because the problem that I'm having with this one, for any reason, I made a boolean of everything, and I only have one subtool. It is not composed by different subtools. Maybe I overwrite it, or maybe I forgot to save it, the progress. With a quick search of my Dropbox folder, just for knowing if I can import again the file with all of the subtools separated. If I don't need to waste too much time. Okay, let's see if I can. Must be here somewhere, and no, you can send. In the meantime, maybe you can send question or comment, and we can be here. Maybe it's not going to be possible. Maybe not. It's not going to be possible to find the previous version of the. Let's see. I have different versions saved. The one is. Maybe we can restore this one. Okay, let's see. Okay, there you go. So it's ready. This is the good thing about Dropbox, when you can find all version of your file. Okay, ready. And Ferchan, how do I pronounce your name? Is Ferchan or Fercan? How do you? Ferchan, right? So are you from Spain or from South America, maybe? Pues nada, gracias a ti por la pregunta. And let's keep moving with this. So you can see here, I already have different subtool. My way of working, I like to split the design into as many parts as possible. I mean, you can see here I have the band, I have this part. This is going to be the main head. This is the main, the ears, the eyes, maybe the tongue, the teeth. So my way of working, I like to split everything, like working with a puzzle when you are, or like with a Lego, when you are building your object with different elements. I never used to sculpting always from the same surface, carving and adding material. So I like to split everything into as many parts as necessary. And I think I find it more useful because it gives me the possibility to change part of the design without affect other parts of the design. So, and let's see how, in which direction we go. Maybe we're gonna start working on the detail of the main. Maybe you can see here it has this kind of hair strands here when this kind of scrolls here, which are cool. Maybe we can start taking this direction. Before doing this, I like this lip that has the original design. I'm talking about this. I can paint here. Yeah, I can paint here. So this kind of lip, it is on the whole diameter. It's like having here a kind of lip where we're going to have this kind of profile here. I think it's going to be useful. It's going to look cool. And I'm always trying, or at least trying, to show you different techniques. And a good technique to do this, if I select this, what we can do here, you see now that it's the topology is a completely mess, composed by part of Sculpting Pro. Maybe if we go to ZBrush, trying to clean this area, geometry, ZBrush. Let's keep the same amount of polygons. I don't want to apply any smooth on the groups. So ZBrush. We're having something like this. Make a ZBrush again. We're having this kind of issue. When you're having this issue, for example, what you can do is copy the size, which is okay, and paste it on the other side. So you can use this option, mirror and well. And now you have already fixed it. And now what I'm going to do is, let me see where we are. So maybe here, this line. What we can do using the C modeler, here, I'm gonna crease this loop, crease H loop complete. Let's play here. You can see here what I did. Creased the whole H loop. And what I'm gonna do now is go into stroke functions and turn this off, and leave creased edges, so frame the mesh. So we already have a curve, apply it to the creased edge, and now I can select any of the curve brushes. In this case, I'm going to use the curve tube brush, and now clicking here, I'm going to have this, and this is going to be good enough, I think. So let's split mask points, and we can push it a little bit to the sides, and this is what we have. Let me put this here. This here I'm not using the right symmetry because the symmetry I'm using is this view. If I add one more axis, X and Z, so I can make it 100% symmetrical everywhere, like this. And maybe we can make it thicker on top, using the backface mask, and we can start making it a little bit thicker here. A little bit thicker here, and maybe a little bit thinner once it is closer to the bottom, like this. And that's it. Let's check the geometry. Okay, let's create a zero measure to create a more regular geometry with the previous deformation we were making. So in this case, like it is. So we can apply some polish to relax the mesh, and maybe it's gonna be okay. Maybe we can push it here. And maybe for closing this gap I have here with the back face mask, we can extend it here and here. Now we can have, let's relax the mesh again, remesh the mesh. Now let's click on double instead of, for having more polygons. Click it again. And we already have the lip we were looking for, so I think it's gonna be nice. So let's save it. I'm gonna try to don't make the same mistake as on the previous stream. Forgot to save. This is going to be the number 2. Okay. Yeah, let me read your question. So, hi, hello, I know you're streaming, man. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate that you like my streamings. You are here watching today's stream. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Mert, I need your help on a different matter. Okay, no problem. I want to put 9 pieces of stones evenly distributed on the corners of the ring part of the ring. What do you mean about of the ring part of the ring? How can I do this with the array mesh part? You want to put 9 stones evenly distributed on the corners. On the corner of what? Because here we are saying of the ring, part of the ring. Do you mean on the top part of the ring? Making a circular arrangement or a square or what? The array mesh could be the best choice, I think. You can explain before what did you mean with the ring part of the ring, because maybe because with the array mesh is a very useful option for make stones arrangements. When you have, for example, a matrix or a radial distribution with as many stones as you need, for example, you can put a row of stones. I used to use array mesh for circular arrangements, but try to explain us what do you mean with the on the corners of the ring part of the ring. I know what do you mean with that. So okay, let's keep working with the design. Let's put 2 eyes at this point, just for don't leave it looks strange without eyes. So let's use the IMM primitives with let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's just leave it here on top, and let's create a sphere. Let's put, so you can see here we're using this previous symmetry. I think I must turn this off. So the Z is, no, the Z is left, right. No, it's left and right here, and the Z is this one. Okay, the right symmetry is the Z axis. So let's just split mass points. Let's put it on place. We can leave it like this, like this. Let's create an eyebrows. The way that I like to do this, there are many different ways, but this is a very useful trick. I'm gonna remove this, put this here. With the mask curve, this and like this. So this is what you have. And now extract. It's too thick, so we are 0.02. Let's try with 0.01. Okay, accept. Now we can start polishing this. We can change the topology because this is the result that we're having with this kind of long polygons on the edges. I prefer to change the topology. Telling to ZBrush, give me a new mesh with the same amount of polygons, keeping the groups. I don't want to polish or smooth the groups, so I have this. So now when we are polishing here, we are getting the smoother results. So we can open the eyes a little bit more, like this. And now we are having something better. So let's start working with this. Maybe a little bit. We are looking for an aggressive looking or more relaxed looking, depending what we are looking for. And now I think it's going to be a good point to change our mesh, because the mesh is the mesh we were using where we were putting different elements, sketching on the surface. And once we're happy with the results, and the next step is going to be start polishing and refining the shapes, I think, in my opinion, it's a good point to go from this kind of combination of different kind of topologies directly to Dynamesh. In my case, I prefer to work with Dynamesh in most of the cases, and I like to use this plugin. This plugin is another external plugin. The name of the plugin is Dynamesh Utility, where I can design how many polygons I'm looking for. So in my opinion, see, you are gonna start adding detail on the surface, you are going to need more than 1 million. So I prefer to stay between 1 and 3 millions. It's going to be strange if I go above 3 millions, maybe reaching 5 millions, maybe in some cases, but very specific cases. But as I said before, as I'm working with different elements, different subtools, I prefer to don't stay over around 3 millions for individual subtool. Of course, only the subtools which needs a specific or a special detail on the surface. The ones that are completely flat or simple, in that cases, I don't need more polygons. But in this case, let's leave like this. I prefer to set up the blur to 0 and turn this off. This is a very tiny button, but I prefer to turn this on because ZBrush is going to try to polish the surface. I don't want to have anything polished. I prefer to polish myself instead of having a whole polished piece at the beginning. So let's click on Dynamesh. And now I'm having a 1.7 million mesh. This is going to be a good starting point to start detailing. Another trick or another process that I use is because in the areas where I need to start polishing, for example, to start smoothing the surface, instead of using the default, the smooth brush, I like to change from the smooth brush to the smooth peaks, where I'm gonna respect the cavities like this. So you can see you can start polishing the mesh or smoothing the mesh without removing too much information, or mainly the wrinkles and the cavities we were sculpting before. So I like to do this. Let's start fixing things like this. For example, here is going to be a good example. If I'm looking for to smooth this area, I think 1.5 million is a good amount where you are going to be able to smooth the surfaces easily very easy with too much problems. You want to smooth the surface, and you're gonna get a decent amount of surface detail. If you are looking forward to smooth the cavities, I change from peaks to smooth valleys, and I smooth valleys if necessary, with just in specific areas, not giving an overall smoothing to everything. So only on the areas that I need, keeping the, for example, here, that's it. For example, here, it has a lot of texture here. So I can smooth valleys and start smoothing, relaxing this. Or you can start applying some overall polishing. And this is going to be the base mesh to start working with for the head. Arturas Bujiriunas is there any way to reposition and scale? Basically edit a mask one it is in place? Sure, it is. Say I have made a mask with an alpha and I want to edit it after placing it. Now what kind of editing are you looking for? Because what you can do is, for example, you have a mask here. If I paint a mask, let me put it, for example, I want to paint a mask here. Let's with the mask pen, I'm gonna start painting a mask here like this. If you go to masking, you have many different ways of editing a mask. Masking, you can start growing the mask, your mask, make it thicker, grow, and I recommend to you when you are growing the mask at the same time, you are fading the mask, you are blurring the mask, so you need to take 2 steps. So grow the mask and sharp the mask. So now you're happy. Or you want to make the opposite, make the stroke thinner, you can start shrinking the mask. Shrink, 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 sharp, sharp, shrink, shrink, sharp, sharp, and then you have this. Or what you can do, you can boost the mask. When you are boosting the mask, you are making the borders harder, more defined, and you have different ways to edit a mask. Depending on the kind of editing that you want. For example, the other way that you can edit a mask, you can start painting over if you need, for example, like this, or you can remove the part of the mask that you don't want using Control Alt when you can start erasing. So you can boost in your mask and you can start refining your mask, because that means that when we are creating mask, we're painting on the surface. You can paint whatever you want. I don't know, scaling and reposition. Okay, this is one way that you have. The other way that maybe you are referring to this, I recommend to you, because for example, you were talking about an alpha, right? So you were talking about something like this. For example, if you let me select the mask rectangle with a star like this, I'm gonna start putting it like this. You can make it bigger or smaller before release your pen or your mouse. Once the mask is placed, the only ways of editing the mask is start working with the settings I was talking about before, growing the mask, shrinking the mask. But you can use this method. You can go to move. You can turn this off. So that means that we're going to start using the transpose line and apply the alpha here like this. So now we are gonna start. You can rotate the mask, and when you are using the space bar, you're gonna start reposition the mask or making it smaller if necessary, or replacing the mask. I don't know if this answered your questions. Maybe I think you are thinking about a very specific sample. Maybe I'm giving to you more general answers, and I don't know if I am answering your question or I'm giving to you the kind of answer you are looking for. But I think in my knowledge, the only way is to place a mask like this, or you can use this. You can use this option, this stroke, drag dot, and you can put a mask here. You can see, yeah, we are placing very tiny stars because the size of the mask is based on the brush size. If I make the brush size bigger, I can now place it and, for example, select the orientation. If I want to make a smaller star, let's make the brush size smaller, and now I can start placing this. This behavior is for this stroke, the drag dot stroke. Okay, what's the name of the smooth brush? Is there a way of representing the scale? Okay. Okay, you already answered. I answered your question. Okay, perfect. I was looking if it's possible to move it after releasing. Yeah, you can use the transpose line I was talking about before, or you can change. You can change, for example, from the default drag rectangle to drag dot. And with the drag dot, you can control the size based on your brush size and the placement when you are moving the pen before releasing the pen. Once you release the pen, the mask is there. You can't move it. But when you are placing the mask, you can put the mask wherever you want. You can put it here, and that you can see it is based on the normals of the surface. That's the reason why when you are moving the pen, the mask becomes a little bit difficult to control because the placement of the mask is based on the mesh surface, the kind of the mesh surface that you have, and that's it, I think. Can you move the mask to some other place? Yes, using the drag dot option. Scaling and reposition. If you want to scale and change the position, you should use the move option. This you can, with the space bar, you can change the position and you can change the scale if you want before release the pen. But if you are looking for a more freehand way of working, you can use this drag dot, controlling your brush size. And if you are looking for this, you can see that you are having this kind of fade effect on the borders or the peaks. The way to fix this, once you are having your finger on your control key, you need to change this setting, the focal shape to -100, and now you will get much better defined stars as before. Smaller, bigger, smaller again. You can place as more as you want. What's the name of the smooth brush? What do you mean with the smooth brush? Soler Bruno. Are you talking about the smooth peaks or the smooth valleys brush? You will find them here. If you are going to the light box and you open your brush folder and then you open the smooth folder, you will find them here. Smooth peaks and smooth valleys. You will find them there. They are not loaded by default on the groups of brushes which are loaded every time you launch ZBrush. You will need to go to your lightbox, go into the right folder, and you will find them there. Smooth valleys, yeah. The smooth peaks. I never remember what is the shortcut of the magnifying glass when I want to show something. Transpose, magnify glass. Control Shift M. So Shift M, you can see smooth peaks and smooth valleys. I use a combination of both. When I'm smoothing the surfaces, I'm always changing from one to the other, depending on if I want to smooth the peaks or smooth the valleys. So it's to try to having a good balance between the peaks and the valleys. So I don't like to use the default smooth brush. I use two different smooth brushes. Shift. Hey Fexter, how you doing? No problem. You are late. The main thing is you are here. Welcome. Thanks, mate. One more thing. How do I curve out material using the mask? Curve out maybe you are curving, you're always when you're or at least when you are using, as far as I know, that verb is you are curving into the surface, because you are like curving, you are removing material on the surface. But curve out, for example, if I, this is going to be a good example that I have here. For example, let's start painting some strokes with the curve pen. For example, I am start creating something like this. This is going to be the bird. Let me see, what can I do? So maybe here we are looking, no, for example, something like this and something like this. They will start from this, from the edge till the border. Okay, something like this, and maybe we can have something, maybe something like this. It's too close to the other, something like this. And no, I don't like it. Let me, maybe I can put something like this, for example. If I invert the mask, and now you can curving out. If I think, as far as I understand, you are looking for to extrude, to push out the polygons. It's not curving. When you're curving, you are making a hole, or you are curving into the surface. Yes. So the problem, for example, you already have here, before doing anything, I can see this space is too small. Let me fix this. Or maybe trying to, maybe fixing things. I can sharp the mask a little bit. Let's fix this. Like this. And now you can use this process. With the gizmo, you can use the control, pressing the control key and using the central yellow square, you can start extruding the surface like this. You can, and the best thing about this is you are adding a uniform extrusion to all of the surface. You are not getting non-regular surface. You can see you are applying the same thickness to everything. You can use this process, control and inflate, or you can go to the deformation and start applying some inflating here. Inflate, you can apply more or less depending on how far you need to go. For example, here, for example, you can start applying some polishing to start polishing a little bit the corners, or using, in this case, the smooth peaks. And you will get this. One thing that I recommend you when you are doing this is, before we remove the mask, I'm gonna invert the mask. I'm gonna create a new polygroup based from the existing mask. Just in case we are gonna need to retake the shapes we were painting before, it's a good habit is to create a polygroup, Control W. So now here we have a polygroup. So now we can start refining the mask, polishing here, or for example, from this point, we can grab the clay build up. I like to remove the alpha, my personal preference. And now you can start adding more value here or adding more value here. And you're gonna start refining, in this case, with the brush size a little bit smaller. You can start, or you can apply more value here, like this. And now from this point is a matter of start refining shapes and start sculpting manually, and start refining shapes, adding details, and that's it. removing material, or if you want to remove, I'm gonna make a copy of this one. Let's make a duplicate. Let's coming back from history. We were here, and the only difference before I start is applying a negative. Instead of moving this, you can move this, and you can push it, the surface, into the opposite direction, and you will get a gap instead of an extrusion. And that's it. Don't forget to use masking, the masks, as a way of detailing or sculpting. It's not always a matter of make everything by hand freely with freehand strokes. So you can before paint your stroke with a mask, and now you can extrude your stroke or push in the stroke on the surface, and then from that point you can start refining the stroke, or because it's much better to use this method, because when you are painting the mask you can remove the part of the mask that you don't like. For example, you can erase part of the mask before you can fix the stroke. When you are creating an stroke, you need to be very precise from the beginning until the end with a very continuous strength all over the stroke. So I recommend to you to use masking as a method of sculpting. Okay, let me check your comments. One more thing. Okay. Yes, I didn't get the name of the first time. Okay. Thanks for asking. Anyway, and so where did you get that matte cap material from? I did it by myself. This one. I did it by myself. I already used one of the matte caps I have loaded on my ZBrush, and I was tweaking it a little bit, changing the cavity, mostly the cavities. This is the reason why you can see this kind of color variations of the cavities different than the peaks. You can control it here. You go to the material menu and you open the modifiers. You can change the cavity with this. You can see here how you can change. You can modify your, I think you can do this with many of the existing material you have inside of ZBrush. So you can start from one of them that you have by default and start playing with cavity detection, cavity transition, and the intensity of the color A and the intensity of the color B. You can see the color A, the color B. And now you will get your own matte cap material to work with. Because I like this one because it looks like a kind of clay, wet clay, I don't know. Because I have many of this. ¿Cómo hacía el anillo? Good question. Good question. I was explaining this many times on previous streams, but maybe we can. Let me save this first. Let me save, but I'm not 100% sure that this is going to be the final. Let me coming back. Let's leave it flat as before. Let's save this. And let's see if we want to make it hollow inside. Thick skin for, yeah, but thick skin in my opinion, most of the time I use thick skin just for texturing, just for adding this kind of hand sculpt feeling on the surface, not for making extrusions, or it's just for giving the surface the feeling that it was made by hand using traditional tools instead of with a random texture on the surface. But thick skin is a feature that I like to use many times. Did I work with morph? Yes. With the storm or the morph target? The storm morph target? Yes, I use it many times. It's going to be very useful. Very useful for many different things. I'm gonna show you one thing about that, because before going to the make the things hollow, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Koke. So let me, for example, if I, let me duplicate this. Let's come back to this one where I am. No, I think I should be here. I have lost. No, it's not this one. It's not this one. Okay. Okay, no problem. We can repeat it. I'm gonna show you one thing about the morph target because maybe it's gonna be interesting for you. Because I was thinking about it while I was making the example or the explanation. Let's grab. Let's paint some forms again. And why not? Okay, let me try. Kind of strokes. Random strokes, okay? So sharp the mask. Store morph target. So that means that we are gonna store the morphology of the mask. Now, at this point, invert the mask, and let's make an extrusion, and as I did before. So let's apply some polishing, and that's it. The good thing about is morph target. So if we go to the morph target here, we can use the morph brush. For example, if we want to remove, or for example, we are looking for of creating this kind of fading into the surface, where the extrusion start growing from 0 till the highest point, so gradually, so like this. This is going to be very useful because if we store before making any deformation to the mesh, the morphology of the mesh, we can, it's like we can rewind till the past using the original morphology of the mesh. But you also can do this. You have here, you can create the different mesh. Just clicking here, and this is what you have. At the top, you will have this. And this is going to be very useful because if as I have been saying before, I like to play with as many different individual parts as possible as individual subtools. What I can do is coming back to the original, because this extrusion is part of the mesh itself. But if I don't like, I'm not very sure what I'm doing, or I'm not sure if the client is going to like what I'm creating, what I can do is coming back till its original position, and I can insert this. And I have this as an individual piece. You can see this is going to be very useful because you create the difference between the first morphology and the second morphology. The first one was the mesh completely flat, and the second is the mesh where we were making the extrusion with this kind of stroke on the surface. When you are telling to ZBrush, make me a difference between the both stages, you will get this. But don't forget that you are having the result on top on the toolbox, not as a part of the existing subtool list. And this could be very useful for many different purposes. Another good thing is because you can see the form are completely 100% adapt to the curve of the surface like this. Because if you don't like it, you can remove it and you can start over again with a new version. Well, this is sharpening the mask. Yes, you have a mask. You can use Control Alt at the same time and tapping on the mask. You can sharpen the mask. And if you only press the Control key and you start tapping on the mask, you blur the mask. Control Alt, I'm sorry. Sharpening, Control only, blurring. Sharpening, blurring. And that's it. This is a shortcut. But you don't remember the shortcut, you can go to the masking menu and you can start blurring or sharpening the mask as many times as you want. And that's it. Okay, let's go for the following part of the process. Let's Of course, the ring is not finished yet, but just for making you the example about how to make this ring hollow inside, we can make the final boolean operation, make the boolean. So let's wait some seconds. Hope yeah, is done. We have the result here. This mesh is composed by only one single mesh that I like to split two parts just in case we have floating artifacts or small pieces, small meshes inside of the mesh. We can split them and separate them, but you can see if when we are splitting two parts, ZBrush is telling to us that the mesh is not composed of multiple parts, so it is only composed by one part. And this is the process, the only process that I use with another external application. So if I'm gonna export the mesh from ZBrush to outside, it's going to be necessary to decimate the mesh, because sending the meshes which we are using inside of ZBrush, which that they are composed by millions of polygons. In this case, is always almost a million. Is 950,000 polygons. Maybe we're gonna have problems to handle this kind of heavy meshes outside of ZBrush, and it's much better to decimate the mesh before export anything. I'm gonna remove most of the polygons from the surface, still having 150,000 polygons. You're gonna see that the details remains the same. So we went, this is the result. We went from here to here. You can see the surface quality remains the same. We didn't lose anything, and let's export it. Export, and let's name it lion ring, for example. And the external application I was talking about before is Mesh Mixer. I open Mesh Mixer. It's a free application from Autodesk. You can import the mesh. You can import the mesh, and now you can make it hollow here. Edit, hollow. You can select here on the offset distance, the wall thickness. For example, we are looking for, because we have in mind to make a cast the gold, the ring in gold. So it's going to be necessary to be very light. So let's make a 0.8 millimeter wall thickness. The solid accuracy is how far the carving is going to go based from the external wall. So that means that the higher values is going to be more similar. The internal wall is going to be more similar to the external wall. That means we're going to have more precision. And the mesh density, I recommend to you to put them almost here. You can go to the maximum if you want. Of course, it will take more time of calculation. Let's update the hollow with these new parameters. It doesn't take too much time. Okay, and it's ready. You can see now we have a completely offset between the external and the internal wall of 0.8 millimeter. This is all of I do with this application. Once I'm happy with the offset, I accept, and I export it again. No, export file, export, and let's overwrite the previous file. Then I come back to ZBrush and I start creating live booleans with ZBrush or getting the, it's ready. So going to ZBrush, import this mesh we were creating before. Then what I'm gonna do is separate the external surface from the internal surface or the offset. So let's split two parts, and this is what we have. This is the internal offset. The reason why we're watching it this way, because it's like we are watching the mesh from the inside. It's going to be necessary to flip the mesh. So let's flip it. and this is what we have. And if I turn it, this is the hollowing that we are having. Of course, the hollowing, these areas maybe is not, they are not going to be necessary. What I'm gonna do is using the slice curve, I'm gonna slice it this here. I'm only going to take this, delete hidden and close holes. And this is the offset. And the only thing that I'm gonna need is to make the opening on the back. For example, we can do, what I can do is, let's try to paint the mask here. Okay, you can see the paint is not possible to paint here almost anything. I like to use mask for creating the openings. But the problem that we are having is the mesh is a very low resolution mesh. You can see the triangles in the inside, so it is not possible to define any drawing with a mask on this surface. So what we can do is, let's keep this as the original, let's make a duplicate. We can come back again to the same plugin as before and create a new mesh, Dynamesh of 1.5 million. So now we can start using this. Let's hide the bottom part. Here, this view, Control Shift, melt. And now we are gonna activate matte symmetry like this. And let's create the opening. You can create an opening like this one. It's going to be completely flat, or you can create a drawing, a gallery with a filigree if you want. Just for making a quick explanation, I don't be here making a very complex shape, like just like this. I want to know how far I am from the border till the border of the opening. I can start taking measurements. As I was saying before, from this point to this point, I am having 1 millimeter, so more than enough. So I can now extract where I am here, extract, accept. And now we have a new subtool here. Let's remove the mask, polish by feature, and that's it, something like this. We can make everything visible here where I am here, everything visible. And now we are having the internal shell, the opening inside of the ring. So if we are gonna start using Boolean, so this one needs to be negative and this one needs to be negative. The reason why I am not still seeing the hole, the reason why is because if you can see here, it is not thick enough. I need to reach to this line, and this line needs to be closer. So what I can do is make a mask here. Instead of this, maybe it will be better to send it to the center, make it bigger, make it like this. Push up, maybe like this. Maybe like this, and like this. And now we are having this, and now we are making again. Now you can see we are having the ring complete, the hollow inside with 0.8 millimeter wall thickness and the opening on the inside. Now it's just a matter of creating the cover or the gallery for closing this hole, and that's it. So the answer to your question is, you can hollow your meshes with Mesh Mixer, then coming back to ZBrush and start making Boolean operation between the internal offset and the external offsets at your preferences. You can also, for example, I have seen here we have a problem here. This gap is a problem. I prefer to remove this portion of the mesh. A good way to destroy the mesh is the Sculpting Pro with the smooth brush. You can start removing this. Depending on if you have in mind to start making molds of your ring or not. Or for example, you don't want to put very deep holes on the hollowing, and you can remove this, and that's it. You have an updated an updated hollow piece and that. And right, if I'm gonna show you if I append a cube, just for showing you that the piece is completely hollow inside. Let's make it bigger, like this. You can see it is completely hollow inside with 0.8 millimeter wall thickness. If we go here and we start taking measurements from this point to this point, now I'm having 0.79 millimeter. You can read it here on the top left corner. I'm gonna mark it again here. 0.8 millimeter. I'm gonna repeat it. Point to point. 0.9 millimeter. Here I have 0.9 millimeter, and here I have 0.7 millimeter, 0.8 millimeter, 0.9 millimeter. So as an average, maybe we are having a good hollowing. We consider a props in a portfolio. I don't know. I know because I'm working for the jewelry industry for 3D printing. Maybe if you are making your designs as a part of your portfolio for video games, maybe the ring could be considered a prop. Yes, maybe. Maybe yes, a prop. Or any kind of jewelry, or for example, an armor or a weapon is a prop. Then a ring, I guess, I think it's a prop too. Okay. So, any other questions? No. Hope this helps to you. The question coming from Coque cómo vaciar el anillo, how to create the ring hollow inside, or any other piece. My way of working, send it to Spec Mister, coming back to ZBrush, and I start creating the necessary Boolean operations, still getting the result that I am looking for. So let's come back to where I am here. This. Okay. So find out what I did here. So let's put it straight. So let's come back to the design and let's start thinking what we are gonna do with maybe using this. I think that I'm going to create something like this, but without the Sculpting Pro. Something like this. Let's change the alpha. I prefer to use the alpha 39. This looks better. I'm going to use the H polish. I'm having this. At this point, it's just about to start designing and detailing. Smooth bodies to smooth this transition. And maybe let's divide 2 times. We're getting more polygons. Pinch brush. Start pinching the mesh in the border, so we're having more something like this. Okay, we can try to create the same thing here. You can use this feature. This is very useful. The adjust last. You will find it here inside of the stroke menu, I think. Adjust last. When you're creating a stroke, and you are thinking that it is not well defined, so this is you're gonna lose it during the casting or during the printing process. You can apply more strength to your stroke using this option. This is very useful in many cases. So that means that we don't need to apply the exact strength to the stroke at the first time, so we can control the strength with that feature. Nice. Okay, looks good. And let's see, the interaction between this part and this part is not good enough. Maybe we can start making maybe something like this. Something like this. I recommend to you when you are sculpting always being checking all the views. So left, right, front, top, bottom, to see how it works. This is going to be part of the main thing from the top. Maybe if I make it this thicker. This. And example, this part, I'm gonna create a mask or in this border. This. We can put it more inside. Let's see how it looks like. To be better, to push this in, or maybe making changing the shape this way. Now we can redefine this. Hey Mehmet, how you doing? Thank you very much for being here watching the stream. How everything is going there? I hope you are well, you and your family. Now you can see now I'm just refining shapes and trying to find interesting forms, and the interaction between the different forms are working properly. So we are watching a good flow between the different forms, like this, for example. Now the main is still, you can see it's still this piece composed by many different polygons. As I did before, now it's time to go into the Z plugin and go to the series to Dynamesh. Okay, Z plugin, Dynamesh. Now we have a Dynamesh of maybe it's too much. Let's undo it. As a starting point, instead of going directly to 1.5 million, let's stay in 1 million. Now we have less polygons, easier to handle. And this point, and let's see what we make with this, with with the mane, let's say. We have two options now about the mane, about the hair or the fur, of the detailing of the mane. We can do it manually with strokes, with sculpting brushes, or we can use clay tubes. I'm gonna try, oops, not this one. I'm gonna try first to make it more shiny, and for example like this. The pinch brush is a very good brush for start getting sharp corners like this with more strength. This. Just adjusting the flow of the curves. You can using the clay build-up. Let's create a gap here, like this. The smooth valleys and the smooth peaks, as we were talking about before. And we can control this corner. We cut this. Okay. I like how it works here, the different combination of shapes and forms. Let's make this sharper, for example, and let's make an extra corner there, an extra corner here. This. Make it straight. I use a lot the H polish brushes. I use two, the default H polish brush and the SK polish brush. So I like to create planes like this, sharpening sharp edges. It's like the feeling that you are sanding the surface. As we are working with wax using traditional jewelry methods. You are sanding or removing the forms. Okay. And let's see how it looks like if we start using tubes. Clay. Let's define a little bit this more. And I will be here streaming after the next week, not the next Thursdays, no, the Thursday after the next Thursday. I hope we are going to be able to finish this design. I will keep working on this on my next streaming, and now we'll start thinking about the next theme or the next design. Because I don't like to bother you with a very long design. I prefer to be here showing or explaining quick designs, which only takes maybe 2 or 3 streamings, no more. Because I think talking about the same thing for more than 3 streamings, in my opinion, is less interesting, or trying to create quick things. Make the tongue bigger, like this. Okay, let's save. Let's check the silhouette. A very good way to checking the silhouette is turning on the thumbnail. You can see here the thumbnail. You can see how the silhouette works. From the top, it's regular enough. When you are checking the silhouette, maybe the silhouette is telling to me at this point, maybe I can use bigger open spaces. For example, here, opening the mouth a little bit more. Here, I'm pushing down the tongue a little bit more. And refining the S. Now we are having here, getting a cleaner S like this. Here, opening the mouth. I think it's much better. Maybe the teeth, the fangs, don't make it that long. Like this. And how about the profile? Maybe the profile is telling to me that the mane is going very thick, like this, and maybe this part of the mouth needs to be higher to compensate a little bit the mass we are having here with the mass we are having here. Of course, the design is not giving to us a very balanced design, because most of the part of the design is on the right, on the left from this view. But trying to, for example, let's say if I do here an interesting curve here, let's see what happens. No, I don't like it. It was better before, like this, and like this. Maybe here the gap is more something like this. Let's start polishing. When we are designing a jewelry piece, we need to be thinking during the sculpting process, thinking about the polishing process, because the people who is going to be in charge of the polishing part of the process, once we have the casted piece, so and the casted piece needs to be polished and finished. If we are having very small and tiny surfaces to polish, it's going to be very difficult to get, in my opinion, good results. And I like to, for example, to have big shiny flat surfaces or curved surfaces and this kind of things. But it's very difficult to control or to take good decisions. But it's a matter of learning at the same time when you are sculpting and when you are sending pieces for casting, for printing, and at the same time you are learning what it works, or what doesn't work. So, but I try to consider it as more as I can during the sculpting process. But anyway, it's, as I said before, it's very difficult to have success at the first time. And also, you are having good results or happy accidents when you have the piece on your hand and you can see you did it you did things that works very well in metal that you didn't consider when you were sculpting, but you should learn from those happy accidents or from those things that used to happen. Curves, curves, and more curves. For example. Let's see how the face looks like from the front. I think maybe good enough. Maybe we can open more eyes, make it not so wide, like this. I like this sharp corner I'm having here. Maybe it's going to be time to start getting the planes here. And for example, yeah, making something like this. Maybe. Gracias, Juan. Me alegro que te guste. And let's save it. And let's start thinking about the main. Okay. I like to use the curve brushes. For example, you have this brush is very useful. The curve tube snap brush, for example. Let's start creating a tube here, going here to here, and make something like this. Yeah, looks nice. But I prefer, instead of apply the mesh at the same time I am making the stroke, I like to use this brush first. Series Measure Guides, this brush. With this brush, what we can do is, for example, we can start creating a layout. For example, like this. Here we are going to have next one. It's going to go from here to here till here, like this. The other one, maybe I can make a new one here. And let's see. Oh, we continue. Let's create a new stroke here. Make it more like this, or not. I don't like it. Maybe we're gonna start here instead. Make it like this. Applying more strokes. Another stroke here. On top, maybe we can make another one here. The reason why I use this method, as you can see here, is that I can start drawing the curves and I can decide if I like them or not before apply the definitive mesh, definitive form or the tube. itself. Let's see. Put it like this, and we can put one in the middle. Okay. Now, once we have the layout or the drawing, we can take the curve tube, and we can only touching one curve, we will get all of them at the same time with the right distribution. I think I'm gonna make them, place them deeper in the surface, just changing this and putting this, and it's okay. So split mask points, and now we have, this is going to be my starting point. Don't forget that we are creating a base mask, we are creating a starting point. This is not going to be definitive. It's going to be necessary to play with them a lot till getting the final result. So I think the first step to take here now is creating a ZBrush method, applying some polishing, and now have the different tubes. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating the different thicknesses, because now they have the same thickness all over the tube. What I'm going to do is, with the smooth brush, I'm going to turn this on, the topological feature. That means that I can smooth this without affecting the one that is near by the one I am touching, like this. For example, move topological. I can place this here. I can this. This, something like this. I can start refining the tubes where necessary, like this, or till getting something like this. Like this. Maybe this one can go here, and maybe this one can be changing the different thickness. I think here I have more than one. Let me check. Auto groups. Yes. Yeah, I need to remove this one. Delete hidden. Okay, and now I can, for example, with the move topological or with the back face mask active, I'm gonna start changing the shapes. Getting this kind of more ornamental feeling. This, like this. On the side, let's follow with this side. Make this thicker, from thicker to thinner. Same thing here. Same thing here. Let's remove the back face mask because I want to put this here. Maybe this part needs to be more like this, and more like this, and more things, trying to fill this gap. Getting some, when you start, you can stretching or stressing the mask is the moment to create a new mess. You can see that you are feeling that you are losing some of the forms. That's happening here. You can see from this point to this point, you can see that something is happening. You are losing definition. I prefer to turn this on, set up the smooth groups to 0, and with the series measure you will get less. This, or what you can do is, for getting even better results, create a new mesh with a double amount of polygons, so you will retain more details as before. This thicker to thinner, and then from this view the same thing. Let's see, maybe we can make this thicker. I'm going to apply a tube here. Let's use the same as before. I'm gonna apply a tube which goes from here, following this path, till here. Oops, too big. Like this, not too big yet. Like this. Let's split mask points. Let's series measure, polish, and then we can fix this. Try to blend it with the something like this, and with the back face mask. Okay, like this. It looks good. Let's keep working on this. This color. I don't like the ending, so to get a more interesting shape or form here. This I was referring to this before when I was saying, when you start stretching the mesh with this not getting clean result, it's time to, let's try with the same amount to create a new mesh, and now we can keep working. Because you can bend it till one point, you want to bend a lot, you are gonna get this kind of bad results. So now that means that it's time to rebuild the mesh, or to create a new mesh using the series measure. Getting everything. Maybe I'm gonna merge this subtool and this subtool together, merge and merge down, so to give them everything into one, within the same subtool. Another feature that I like to use is this one. Show you now before fixing this. So you can use this feature, IQ curve. I haven't I'm getting this option here on my custom interface, but you can find it in the brush menu somewhere. It's palette, curve, AQ curve, and you will find it here. Brush, curve, and AQ curve. You will be able to do this. To start breaking some curves, don't, because for example, let's see where I can apply it. Maybe here. You can see you can start breaking it, and you go from here till here. So start creating angles or sharp edges or corners. And I think for this design it becomes, I think in my opinion, more interesting, trying to get a combination of curves and corners, for example here. Only with this feature. Or you are looking for this kind of very pointy endings, the same thing with this. Same process. For example here. Yeah. Getting something like this. And at the end we can use the, let's make a new mesh with the double. With more polygons, let's apply a little touch here of polishing, and now we can use the SK/brush to start adding this kind of edges. Like this, here and there, like this, here. What I can do is, I'm gonna try to get this tip, removing the alpha we were using before. We can isolate this, and let's grab only the tip, blur the mask, and rotate it. And like this, I think looks more interesting. The same thing with this one. Here, rotate it like this. Let's use this. Maybe this could be on top. Yeah. Maybe like this. You can use this up without the anchor curve, because now I don't want to create peaks. Yes. Okay, so we are 62 persons watching the stream from all of the platforms. We are streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Thank you very much to all of you. I hope you are finding the stream interesting. You know that you can rewatch it whenever you want on the YouTube or Facebook or Twitch channels of Maxon and ZBrush. And you can leave your comments or your questions on the video comments, just in case you miss something, some technique, or you would like to ask something about any part of the process that you don't understand. Thank you very much, Daniel. Okay, well, maybe I can apply another tube here. This time I'm gonna paint it directly. Whoop. Something like this. Okay, nice. So push it in without the back face. I forgot to turn this off. And for example, I can apply in this case inflate brush like this, and let's say same amount of polygons. Okay, you some polishing, and that's it. From Argentina. Entonces Daniel. No, Daniel. Gracias por estar aquí, amigo. Thank you very much, Leonard. So I think there's still a lot to do. As I said before, we will follow working on this design on my next stream. It's gonna happen not next week, Thursday after next week. I think it's the Thursday 20 something. I don't know. Exact day is, but you can check it out on the calendar from the Maxon ZBrush website, and we will keep working on different jewelry designs with ZBrush in the future. Maybe talking about reliefs or pendants, bracelets, or more rings, coins, medals. Also, you can suggest the theme for future streamings if you want and you are interested on learning some, I don't know, relief techniques or stone setting techniques. I don't know. Just for trying to make the streamings as more interesting as possible for you, because for today we are done almost, and maybe I'm gonna leave this like this, because when you start sculpting you never stop, so I can be here the whole day making strokes and strokes. So it's gonna be time to start wrapping up the streaming. Okay, this is going to be our lion ring. So I think we are gonna put more this kind of ornamental mane or fur or hair on the chin, and that's it. I think because I was thinking about adding this kind of element to the design as a moving part, this like putting here a kind of, I'm gonna show you what I want to say. It's if I append ring 3D, for example, it's just an idea that I have in mind, just for putting something like this. Inside of the mouth with as a movable part, maybe with, because I think could be nice or interesting in terms of design. This will go here, something like this, and putting, for example, some stones here for the people, because you never know the clients that you are gonna, they are going to buy your designs. For example, if I grab these hems, for example, putting some hems here with the symmetry, with the right symmetry, something like this. I don't know, maybe for putting a more luxurious, or for adding some bright to the piece. I don't know, maybe it could be cool if you have a little movable ring inside of the mouth of the lion. So it's just an idea. We will talk about this in the next streaming. It could be cool for wearing this. Okay, so I will remember you. You have at the bottom of my picture here, I will share with you my link tree, but you already got it there. So linktree / Nacho Riesco, where you are going to be able to, for example, if you are interested on getting access to my courses about jewelry design that I already have on the Vertex school, or you can visit my different tutorials that I already have on the internet. So you can visit my website or my ArtStation, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Facebook. Here you have a collection of all of my links. So I will put this on the chat just for you, just in case you're gonna be interested on follow my work. And I'm from Spain. Yes, I'm living in Spain, in the north of Spain. Where did I study? I never studied anything related to art or to sculpting or to jewelry. I was studying electronics many years ago, and for life reasons I am making jewelry designs with ZBrush, but I am self-taught artist. I never studied anything related to the job that I am currently doing or making. Of course, so you already have there my links, just in case you want to visit them. Of course, you can follow me on my Instagram page. You can ask me whatever you want through my social media places, to the Instagram, to my Facebook, or you already have my email there on my website. So will be nice for me if I can talk with you, just in case you have problems or questions about your jewelry designs. And I will be here if I go to Zero's Live. Right. Gonna close this. If you go to the calendar, so we go. I will be here again Thursday 27th, the Thursday after the next week. Check out all of the amazing artists that you have here, which are streaming the whole week. Next stream will be on Saturday. I strongly recommend you following them all for learning different techniques, different application of ZBrush, and that's it for today. Hope you have enjoyed the streaming, and I will be here in the future with more ZBrush for jewelry design. So bye, take care everybody, thank you.